A national survey on nutrition has recently pointed out that Newfoundlanders have the poorest eating habits of all Canadians. We may claim to be Canada's happiest province, but hard facts have indicated that we are indeed Canada's unhealthiest province. Many of us are not eating well enough to sustain health. The reason for this is not a lack of food, but rather a widespread ignorance of what is good for us in the food line. Everything we eat becomes us. The food we eat becomes our blood, bones, brain, and brawn, our size, our strength, and our stamina. Even our personality and our emotional stability comes from our food. We would not think of putting dirty gas into our cars, yet we continually pump junk foods into our bodies, with disastrous results. Back in 1920, the poet Walter Delamere tried to make this point with a poem. It's a very odd thing, as odd as can be, that whatever Miss T eats turns into Miss T. Porridge and apples, mince, muffins and mutton, jam, junket, jumbles, not a wrap, not a button that matters, the moment they're out of her plate, though shared by Miss Butcher and sour Mr. Bate. Tiny and cheerful, and as neat as can be, whatever Miss T eats turns into Miss T.
During my travels in Newfoundland and Labrador, one of the things that I noticed was that many of young children, after they quit drinking milk from the bottle, quit drinking milk almost entirely. This has some very serious health problems, as outlined in the Nutrition Canada survey report as relating to Newfoundlanders. 7% of our preschoolers have low serum calcium levels, and 50%, that's 1 in every 2 that was surveyed, had low levels of serum vitamin A. Neither of these nutrients drop in the blood until the body stores are severely depleted. Our major source of calcium is milk, and children need 2 1/2 cups of milk a day. Vitamin A is found in liver, dark green and yellow vegetables, and in milk. Teenagers also have very poor food habits. Teenage girls traditionally have had the worst food habits and worst nutritional status of any of our population groups. However, we have found from the Nutrition Canada report that teenage boys, even with their large consumption of food, have a blood picture that resembles teenage girls.
What do you feel about the kinds of lunches that are available in your school? Do you buy them and eat them very much, or?
In our school, I try not to buy it as much as I can. I bring a lunch whenever I can, because the foods, they're really bad. They sell all kinds of bars, all kinds of chips, and they don't sell good hot meals. And they have hamburgers and hot dogs, and you're really tempted to buy it too. Sometimes when I'm leaving the house, I ask Dad to say, give me about 50 cents, and he'll say, well, have another quarter. I say, no thanks, because I know I'll buy another bar or another bag of chips.
I agree with Joanne, but I think there should at least one perfect meal, so you won't have to depend on a bag of chips to fill you up at least once a week. I try to take a sandwich too whenever I can, but still it doesn't really fill you up, so I probably have a bag of chips. But compared to some girls, there's about 3 bags of chips, a couple of puff bars, and then a Coke, or, they're not filled in, they go back and get more, but they hardly ever buy, a soup or a sandwich, in a way, we're glad the prices are a bit high, so it's sort of tempting not to go handy to them,
Do you think that the two of you girls are unusual in thinking this? What's the majority opinion about what the food is like?
Well,
would you get agreement with a lot of other of your friends on this, or what?
Well, most of our friends do eat the chips and everything we're just talking about. There's not too many bar sandwiches.
But a lot of them are worried about their figures.
Yeah.
They would be with their sandwich.
They don't realize what's doing to them.
Would you say that the main reason why you're not buying the type of thing, Joanne, is what you just said right now? You figure it's bad for health, bad for your figure, and that sort of thing?
I know last year I always used to buy nearly every day a hamburger. Every single day it was a hamburger and a puff bar and a bar and say a Coke. And oh, did I ever get bloated? You could even tell, you know, I was starting to get fat. And now I'm trying to steer away from it.
Yeah, but the idea of stopping eating it and trying to eat better stuff, is this something that came from yourself, or did this come from the school or home, or, you know, why did you change, in other words?
Well, I changed. I guess I got sick of it, I guess.
Yeah, you'd soon get turned from it after, you know. Like some of the girls, I don't know how they can eat it. Like, because sometimes I probably has a puff bar, and I don't even fill up or anything, you know. I sort of get sick, stomach sick, so I don't know how they can do it, you know. Continuously eating stuff.
Are there some girls who eat absolutely nothing but sweet stuff for lunch?
Yeah, there are girls. And we used to eat lunch with a crowd of girls, you know. They used to go up on the train, and they came down, where's your lunch to? And it was like 4 bags of chips, a couple of puff bars, and then, you know, a couple of other bars besides that.
And you see some of the girls who don't need it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like the big ones. And they're filled up. The tray is filled with all kinds of foods they don't need.
Can you think of any ways in which the thing, supposing you were trying to change it, what would be the best way to start, do you think?
You mean change foods that's sold?
Right.
I'd say I could ask someone, I guess, but I guess they wouldn't do anything about it. Like to stop selling bars and stop selling puff bars and suckers and all that. They sell Tootsie Pops up there too. And I think they should sell fruit, pears and apples. Be a lot better. And milk.
Yeah, 'cause some of the people are used to eating pears and fruits and stuff like that, you know. But when they come there, there's nothing there, you know. So they buy something to fill them up instead, which would be a bag of chips or something, which is not good for you.
Yeah, I wish I lived close enough to school to go home.
Yeah,
but I don't. There's small.
I gave Aloysius some money for to buy himself lunch at the school. Every day he bought French fries and gravy, and now he's as fat as a fool. And he gave young Sharon a quarter buy treats at the small corner store. She bought ice sticks and green powdered sugar, and her teeth all fell out on the floor. When Madonna was having her baby, she smoked 2 packs of fags every day. Stuffed herself with sweet pastries and soft drinks. Only 5 pounds did her baby weigh. So take heed, all you young teenage women. Leave the chips and the soft drinks alone. Very soon you will be someone's mother. Someone's home. Do you feel that the schools have a moral obligation to provide nourishing food for our young people? And if so, are they doing so?
Yes, well, I would definitely have to say that they do have a very definite obligation, and no, they are not at the present time living up to this obligation in any respect. At the present time, it's been demonstrated over and over again how much relation there is between the food that people eat and their mental development. That is, their state of nutrition affects so much the ability that children have to learn, and actually how much progress they're going to make all through their lives depends on nutrition. And I feel that the schools are not taking this fact properly into consideration when they plan their various educational programs. I think that a lot of schools feel that it's the responsibility of the parents and the home to establish what sound nutritional practices children should follow. But so often this is not the case. A lot of the parents have never had opportunity to be exposed to nutritional information themselves. And so whatever their intentions, they may be the best in the world, but they just can't always plan properly for their families. And somebody has to help the parents to fulfill this responsibility by teaching them in school, both in actions and in words and in various classes about nutrition. Other parents who are really trying hard to do the best for their children and know what good nutrition consists of will oftentimes pack a really nutritious lunch for their children and send it with them to school. But if there is a facility at the school which supplies all kinds of junk foods, French fries, different kinds of sweet cakes and pastries, bags of chips and all kinds of candies, children will throw their entire packed lunches into the garbage and just buy many of these junk foods which are available, because if a choice is there, no child can be expected to instinctively choose nutritious foods. They choose whatever it is that they want, and quite often this will not be the packed lunch which has come from home.
What about from the point of view of turning a profit, say, cafeteria in the school turning a profit? There's a lot of money possibly to be made in junk foods being sold to children who are willing to buy them because they're sweet, tasty, and nice to eat. Is there a profit being made there, and who's responsible in that, as you see it in this way?
Yeah, many schools are attempting to make a profit out of the sale of various food items to children, and as you know, with the rising cost of all kinds of foods, nutritious foods as well as junk foods, really the only ones which can be sold at a profit are not the ones which are best for the children's health. That is, you can make a profit off French fries and candy bars, where you can't off a hot dinner or a hot dog or a hamburger sold at the prices that children can afford. The problem is the schools shouldn't be making a profit at the expense of the children's health. This is all wrong. It's the same sort of thing where soft drinks are sold. Some of the soft drink companies will offer gym equipment to schools in return for a contract, and schools are misled into thinking that the gym is important to the children's health at the exclusion of their nutrition and other factors. Another thing that really bothers me is where nutrition education is incorporated to some degree into health programs in all the schools. Actions speak louder than words, and it certainly imparts an attitude to children when a teacher comes from a classroom after expounding on nutrition and good eating habits and walks down to a canteen and opens up and starts selling all kinds of chocolate bars and chips and soft drinks to children. It really negates the whole teaching program which is going on in the school.
A little while ago, you took a survey of the eating habits of youngsters in some of our city schools, what was eaten, and probably some of the schools outside the city as well. Tell me some of the best and some of the worst findings.
Okay, I have some here that I brought along as examples. This is one which is not a very good one. There was no breakfast eaten on this particular day. Between breakfast and the noon meal, as a snack, there was one piece of Kit Kat bar and one piece of Turkish Delight. The noon meal consisted of a plate of corned beef hash, 2 slices of bread and a glass of water. The afternoon snack, 2 Polar bars, 1 bag of chips and 2 bananas. And then the evening meal, and this is really hard to believe that students are actually eating like this. Evening meal, a tin of Coke, a puff bar, 2 bags of chips, 1 crispy crunch, and a 10-cent candy. And then by way of a bedtime snack, a plate of chips, a cup of coffee, and a slice of bread. And this is not a particularly extreme example. Many of the school children and adolescents are eating in this way. This one is not quite so bad. Again, no breakfast. And then between breakfast and the noon meal, a Coke and a puff bar, which of course gives no protein or staying value during the morning for children. The noon meal, not so bad, with a bowl of tomato soup, a hot dog and a fudge stick. At least there's a little bit of protein going in there. The afternoon snack, a Coke again and a plate of chips. And then for the evening meal, a pork chop with mashed potatoes and gravy and 2 slices of bread. And a bedtime snack consisting of 2 slices of toast with cheese whiz and a bag of chips. In both of these, there's a notable absence of milk and of fresh fruit and vegetables, which are other foods which are necessary for the students.
Well, I think a lot of our school children, of course, are learning or have already learned their eating habits, either in school and at home. And unfortunately, many of the schools are not serving the kinds of food that we in the health department would like to see sold there. And one of the things that I think is lacking in most schools, or probably across the province, is the fact that there's no policy as to what kinds of food should be sold in a school cafeteria or in a school canteen. And consequently, many schools, make use of the soft drink machines. They have the sweets, cakes and cookies and chocolate bars in their canteens to make money for the school, make money for, athletic and sports activities or library books, all of which are worthy, and the school needs them. But I don't feel that these facilities should be obtained at the expense of children's health. And, when schools are serving these sweet foods and soft drinks and things, I mean, it is being done, I think, at the expense of children's good health.
What does the consumption of near foods and many junk foods lead to? Overweight is Canada's #1 health problem in adults. Not only does it affect our appearance and the way we feel about ourselves, but also it leads to many serious health complications, including such things as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, which is the disease of the heart or the circulatory system, that is the system by which the blood circulates through the body, high blood pressure, arthritis, and many other diseases. From 60% to 90% of Newfoundlanders, depending on age and sex, are overweight. Why? It's because of the food that we're eating and also the amount of exercise that we're doing. One cannot be physically fit unless one eats nourishing foods. And exercise is important, not only to burn the energy that is found in the foods, but also to tone muscles. Many people are interested in losing weight. We talked with some people who are doing something about it.
I have your record book with the weight watching group that you've joined, and it says that you went from 201 pounds to 156 in 29 weeks, which is loss of about 55 pounds. And I'm just wondering, what caused you to make the final decision to join a group like this?
My doctor and my husband. The doctor, he said if I didn't, that my legs would go out from under me because my legs were too small for the weight of my, body. And then my husband, he wanted me to go because I was just too big.
How do you feel about yourself since? Do you think you're a happier person as a result of the loss of weight?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Has your life changed in any way?
Oh, yes. You can go out to a store and have a ball shopping for things because you can find something to fit you and it don't cost you a fortune. And you really learn to eat properly and eat the right things, and it's really good. It's hard at first, though. There's no getting away from it. But once you learn to eat, you try and stay because your conscience, you have to face yourself every week, and when you get on them scales, and if they're up, well, you feel just rotten if you gain.
Do you eat less things or just different things?
No, I eat more than I ever did. I mean, I used to eat before, but I ate all the wrong things. I mean, I'd sit and eat pizzas and Chinese food and all these things, which if I would sit down and eat a decent meal, I wouldn't have gotten maybe so big. So, no, we have a fish and meat and no potatoes. We have bread, a certain amount, and a certain amount of vegetables, but your plate, you really have a lot to eat. More, more so than any diet that I ever tried to go on myself.
Have you met people lately that have the same problem that you have, and have you been able to talk to them or help them? Or do you feel like you would like to help them if you had a chance?
Oh, definitely, but you just can't go if somebody is big. It's no good for me to go tell them that they should come. You have to go on your own. It has to be your own choice. It's like anything. If you don't make up your own mind to go, nobody can do it for you. You really have to do it yourself.
Do you think that your health was in danger at any point Did the doctor say anything about how the weight was might be related to your health in the past?
Oh yes, I mean even before I started, and that before my doctor told me to go, I had doctors before that told me I should go and lose weight on account of my blood pressure, too. But I mean, I've never had nothing wrong with my blood pressure, since I've gone on it.
So your general health is better all the way around since then?
That's right, yeah.
Would you advise people to join one of the clubs that are in town?
Oh, definitely. If they can't do it on their own, they're a lot better off to, join a club where they can lose weight, because I think group therapy is what you really need. And you take with me going, and you have 40 or 50 other people at counterweight as well. You get together and you can make up menus even. Somebody has a recipe idea that they've cut down, and it's really marvelous.
People don't seem to realize that food they're intaking and their level of activities decreasing with many of our modern conveniences now, and people just don't get out and do as much as they did, and they eat the same amount as their fathers did and their mothers did, and they think that this is great.
Who would you say are the worst offenders, men or women?
Well, it's about the same, I find, but many times women seem to come to you more because they're more concerned about their weight. Men just say, well, I'm getting older and I'm getting fatter, and they don't seem to be as concerned. But women realize, well, maybe their husbands want them to look better, or they see their friends and they want to be thinner too.
Are you having pretty good success with some of your patients when they actually are losing weight and keeping it off?
Mm-hmm. Well, some of them, the ones that realize they're overweight and really want to lose, they come down gradually, and then they keep it off. But then there's others that think you can give them a quick cure, and they just don't lose it that fast. And they think, well, I can splurge this weekend and pay it up for it, and during the week I won't eat anything. And they don't tend to lose that much, because in the run of a week they eat too many calories. If they followed their diet, why, they would lose.
We have a large number of cardiovascular problems or heart conditions here. Is any of this related to our high consumption of salt, say salt beef or salt pork or salt fish?
Most definitely, yes. The consumption of the salt in Newfoundland is extremely high for traditional reasons. The high consumption of the salted fish, salt beef, as mentioned. And we know for experimental data, we know from clinical data that the high salt diet can trigger in those who are genetically prone to get high blood pressure, hypertension. That is high salt intake, and the salt intake in Newfoundland, I would say, is, let's have a conservative estimate, is 100 times more than you would require, 100 times higher than at least than the requirements of the salt intake. Now, this high salt intake is obviously one of the reasons why Newfoundland has a much higher frequency of high blood pressure than other parts of Canada, with some very unfavorable side effects, like the cerebrovascular, the strokes that are much more frequent in Newfoundland than, for example, in the mainland of Canada. And it is our firm conviction, we are just now doing a research on that, but also the preliminary data are strongly suggesting that the high salt consumption here on the island is partly responsible for this.
I think one thing which most people can work at the present time is improving their method of, say, cooking vegetables. Now, in Newfoundland, as you know, the Newfoundland boiled dinner is a favorite food. But frequently, the vegetables in this boiled dinner are overcooked. And I think some people will have, more nutrition if they will cook their vegetables for a shorter period of time than some may be used to doing.
Is there any other kinds of things that they might do?
Well, I think another thing that people here in Newfoundland can do, more people could grow vegetables, make use of their own locally grown vegetables, or have a garden, have a kitchen garden. Then the various vegetables that are available in the garden are going to have more food value, because some of the vitamins will not be lost in packaging, transportation, that's required to, bring things here from California and Mexico. And they don't need to be frozen. Some of them can be eaten fresh. And as a result, they're going to have, more food value right in their own home kitchen. And then making use of their own, locally caught fish, rather than, buying all of the kinds that are available in the supermarket. So when this is possible, I'd certainly recommend it. And same with their local game, rabbit and moose. Anyone who's making a hunting trip and comes home with either a moose or a rabbit, they're going to have better food value, because it's less expensive and it can be put to good use for family feeding.
The Nutrition Canada report indicates that many Newfoundlanders are malnourished. What should we do about it? Canada's Food Guide is a guide to a swinging way of life. This guide divides foods into 5 major groups: milk, meat, fish, and poultry, breads and cereals, fruits, and vegetables. These foods provide the proteins, vitamins, and minerals that we need. We need to have foods from each of these food groups every day. And taking too many foods from one food group and not enough foods from another food group may lead us to nutritional deficiencies such as iron and vitamin C. For those people who would like to have a copy of this guide, write to Memorial University Extension Service for Good Eating with Canada's Food Guide. Knowledge of nutrition is power, the power to influence one's life. Let's eat right to keep fit.